The Better Business Bureau receives an average of 13,000 complaints about moving companies. And while certainly not all of these are scams, you can't ignore story after story of interstate moves gone horribly wrong. At Move Buddha, our mission is to make moving easier and to empower people to make informed decisions to avoid these stories happening to you, hopefully. Let's talk about some of the most common moving scams and how to avoid them. Name changes. Listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with corporate rebranding or name change, but if a mover claims that they've been in business for years, yet their business license says that they've only been around for 6 months, ask why. Other abnormalities can be their name is different from what they say it is on their website, or that their license is expired. They could potentially have a legitimate reason, but it's worth keeping an eye out for something like this. Another name-related scam is that their name is oddly similar to a reputable moving company. Whenever we get complaints about a mover we recommended, the first thing we do is to even check that they're complaining about the same company that we recommended, because a lot of the times, these companies have absolutely no affiliation to the company we recommended. They just have a very similar name. This is extremely annoying for us, but it can be a nightmare for someone who falls for this. If you're checking out one of our recommended movers, please triple check that you're looking at the same one. Fly-by-night online moving brokers. There's a distinction to be made between movers and moving brokers. Movers own trucks and brokers don't. Moving companies also have warehouses, storage facilities, and trained employees to pack and move your items with packing materials. All brokers need is a post office box and a few phone lines, and they're in business. They often misrepresent themselves as actual moving companies to unsuspecting customers. Once they've booked a move with a new customer, they shop that move around to real moving companies, usually ones that operate at the low end of the respectability spectrum. So the thing about this one is that there are some legitimately good companies that broker moves in order to save the customer money. These companies will be backed up with an actual footprint in the industry. Maybe they've been in business for a few years and they have an actual office. If a company seems to be trying to hide the fact that they intend to broker your move and has little to no reputation in the moving industry, you should probably look elsewhere. Lack of attention to detail. You found a mover that is advertising a great deal, you go to their website and you can't seem to find a phone number. I don't like to generalize, but this is probably a great sign to move on from them. Scammers often don't provide phone numbers, they just want yours. Also, if it's possible for you to visit their office in person, that could really help you see that they're a legitimate operation. Tip: if a company is based far from your area, you can do a Google Maps search of their address, use Street View, and see if something seems off. If you're directed to an absolutely random house or something, you're entitled to ask them what's going on, at the very least. Unexpected costs at the end of the move. There are totally legitimate reasons that a mover may charge for last-minute services added to your move. For example, maybe the truck is unable to access your home adequately, so they have to add in a shuttle service or carry your items extraordinary distances. You can proactively inform any potential difficulties to avoid these surprises. Anyway, that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about last-second additions of massive fuel charges, bloated insurance premiums, and jacked up weight to the final bill. This tactic is often referred to as bait and switch. The movers that will do this are typically the ones that advertise prices much lower than any of the competitors, because they know that they'll make up the difference in the end. To avoid falling for these prices that are genuinely too good to be true, use our moving cost calculator, where you can get an instant ballpark figure for what you should pay for your move by just entering your origin, destination, move size, and dates. Once you have a reference point, get a quote from at least 3 movers. The calculator will not only help you avoid this scam, but will prevent you from overpaying. Estimated weight discrepancy. This is the tactic we see employed the most to provide lowball estimates, and is exactly why you should get at least 3 quotes from reputable companies. The weight that they estimate that your move will cost should be within 10% of one another. This scam includes quoting a price for a much lower weight, knowing that they'll charge for their honest mistake later in the move. Many times you end up paying more money than you would have with a more reputable mover, and you'll likely end up with a worse moving experience in every way. Large deposits. Some reputable movers will ask for a deposit, but overly large sums paired with any other red flags that we mentioned in this video should be enough for you to strongly consider other options. An overly large deposit is anything above 10% of your quoted move cost. Estimate in cubic feet. If you're moving long distance from one state to another, your estimate should be based on mileage, optional service requested, and the weight of your shipment. If a moving company provides an estimate based on cubic feet instead of weight, it can mean that they're up to no good. They may justify it by saying it's only fair to charge based on the amount of van space used. Sounds reasonable, right? Wrong. Here's why. If an experienced driver can load your items into 1,000 cubic feet of space, why should you be charged more for an unexperienced or shady driver who uses 1,300 cubic feet? Tip: if your estimate is in cubic feet, be sure that you're hiring a mover that you trust. The guaranteed quote. What peace of mind the word guarantee can provide. right? If the quote is guaranteed, that means that is definitely what you're going to pay, right? Not necessarily. A binding estimate is a guaranteed price, but it's based on the exact weight, number of inventory items, and services requested on the original estimate. However, you may still be on the hook for additional charges if you move more items than agreed upon, or if the mover needs to provide additional services. If the mover is expecting the estimate to be wrong, this guarantee means next to nothing. These scams are common and widespread. Many times, these types of companies get in front of you through advertising and putting themselves on as many lists as possible. Even if you are on a best moving companies list, be sure that you're looking on a website that you trust. If you choose to trust us, I've linked our top picks of the best moving companies in the description below. Either way, here's what you should do to ensure you're working with a reputable company. Check their name on the Better Business Bureau website. Be sure their USDOT number matches the displayed number on their moving trucks. Check out their license insurance and other data on the FMCSA website, which I'll link to. Check if they have a physical address. You can verify it with the Google Maps tactic I talked about earlier. Look at the reviews. Reputable movers may have some negative reviews, but you can usually trust a company that has at least a number of positive reviews, especially if you can confirm that they've been in business for a few years now. Some other things that you should do to prevent any issues is to take photos of your belongings before your move. This will help in case you need to file a claim and get everything in writing. Never sign anything that's blank. I know that sounds like a lot, and I promise you, you can have a successful move on the horizon if you just keep an eye out for these red flags. Thank you for watching and happy moving.